Well, good morning and greetings and salutations to everybody out there in YouTube land. I'm your host once again, Dan Thornton. I want to thank you all for coming in and joining us here on Lions Talk Live, being a part of the Duke crew, making a little time out of your way, out of your day to come on in, talk about a little bit of Lions football. If you're new to the channel, if you could help us help the channel grow. We're making a push for 4,800. If we are able to do that by Sunday, that sure would be great. So if you haven't hit subscribe yet, please think about doing that. Also, maybe even a thumbs up button if you would. Get all that stuff helps. All right, real quick before we get into the show, as most of you know, and if you don't, then let me help you out. Outside of being a coach and a YouTuber, I also sell real estate. I have for since the early 90s. So anywhere in the state of Michigan, Upper Peninsula, Lower Peninsula, you guys probably all heard me say it by now. Give me a call, shoot me a text, whatever you want to do. Just go ahead and contact me and let me see what I can do to put over 30 years of service in the industry to help save you some money, because I know everybody likes to save a little money. Also, if you're outside the state of Michigan, I know a lot of you guys do reach out to me, but feel free to call me or text me. Let me see if I can give you some words of wisdom or maybe point in the right direction, somebody who can help you and work on your behalf. So if you don't want to save money, don't contact me. If you do like saving money, go ahead and give me a call or shoot me a text. All right, let's get going on to the comment section. As we're probably all definitely aware, this is a big game for a Sunday. And, really this time of year, all games are big, right? They're all going to have huge impact. We get this win, though, that puts us at 10. We get to 12. Nobody can catch us in the North. So, 11, I think we're feeling pretty good about things, but 12 would wrap it up. And, with 5 games left, you get a win Sunday, takes a little bit of pressure off of those remaining games. And it is a winnable game. All right, I see the comment section as I'm moving and shaking, and I do apologize. I know some of you guys were in the chat earlier, and I had to end that broadcast. I noticed a typo in the thumbnail, and the editor and me, I had to get it fixed. All right, here we go. Bit Lady, good morning. First one here in the new feed. Yeah, you were. So thank you for that, by the way, for coming back. Drake, what do you got? What happened? Like I said, there was a typo in not a huge deal. Probably nobody really would have cared or noticed, but I did. And, if you've been a editor and stuff for a while, stuff like that gets under your skin a little bit. So I just, basically restarted the feed once I corrected the thumbnail. All right, mile marker. Good morning, Lions Pride. Happy day. And let's share chat today so more can hear their comments, if you would, please. All right, we'll do that. We'll try to share everybody's commentary. All right, Drake, I guess the feed crashed. Typo fix up. Time warp, maybe in some alternate, Marvel universe or whatever. Bit Lady, yep, contained fields. I agree. That will be one of their bigger assignments. All right, Lions fan, what do you got? Did it crash for everyone? I was typing, and all of a sudden the chat was gone. Yeah, like I said, I just restarted it. So sorry about that, guys. Bit Lady, coach, let's use the Vikings model on D and rush the Bears with 5-man fronts. Use AA and a quart for speed and athleticism. Be patient, not over aggressive. Hold the line gaps and contain. I gotta imagine. I get Flores does a lot of creative things, especially like you're pointing out at the defensive line of scrimmage to try to confuse other quarterbacks. And you guys remember, that's one thing I'm a big fan of and have been talking about a lot over it seems like the last few months of the season, where I think Aaron Glenn could really grow as a defensive coordinator. You guys hear me talk about when I do film breakdowns and watch things, or even live when you watch the games, you can just see that basically every quarterback who's got any kind of experience against us does some pre-snap reads, adjustments, guys in motions, figures out, where the drops are as far as the defense, where most of the defenders are likely going to go on particular snaps after the ball is gone. So what that does is, because Aaron Glenn doesn't give any counters, what their initial reads are, so far this year, they all been open. There's no moment of pause or hesitation created by, we think this is going to be open, says the quarterback. And then on the snap, the defense is altering and changing. Now, in college football, I'll say this. It's fairly common, and it's one of the reasons why I think most quarterbacks, when they're rookies, struggle, or the first couple of years in the league, is in college, very few teams on defense make last-second adjustments when the guy goes in motion. They don't do anything to really disguise or mask their coverages. NFL, that's not the case. It happens a lot. When you see that guy go in motion, you'll hear the green dot, whoever it is. Usually it's your mic. Makes a change to try to throw people off, and it's very effective because now all of a sudden you saw one thing's open, now it's not, and that gives you that half-second pause where I was going to go to read A, and now I got to go B or maybe even C, and that just gives the pass rush a lot more time to get home. That's why you see such a high bust rate for quarterbacks, because they're great when they see it and they got a second or two to digest it before the snap. They do great things with it. That's also why I would say you see other quarterbacks that maybe fly under the radar, that don't have the big cannon arms, or maybe horribly mobile or whatever, that when they come to the NFL, because they process information so fast, they actually do very well. In recent years, I would say Brock Purdy's the one that jumps out to me that fits that description. In the past, you have other people like Kurt Warner or Warren Moon, or stuff like that. But anyways, I'm going on too much about that. But you guys get the gist that I agree that, you got to do some things to catch offenses off guard. We contain field twists. Yeah, I would agree with you. JDC, Lions #1 fan. Oh, yeah, you broke it. Yeah, it happens, man. Great time. What's a normal week for an NFL player? Usually so if you play on Sundays, you get Mondays off unless you're coming in for treatment or something like that. Tuesdays, film study breakdown with your positional coaches. Wednesday, that's your actual practice with the team and your defense or offensive coordinator, special teams coordinator. Same with Thursday. You're going to be working on things for that particular opponent in the upcoming weekend. Friday, just real dress rehearsal, review basically what you did Wednesday and Thursday, try to cement it. And then, usually, Saturdays, it's just, kind of also another day off other than treatment and things of that sort. And then Sunday in a normal week, game day. All right. What do you got? Big Eddie, Rocky Horror Picture Show. I see what you're doing there. Yeah. Time warp thing. Yeah. Yes. All right. Big Eddie at Hooker Time. 3 practices in the game. If I'm correct, that's about correct. Yes. All right. Hooker Time. Goff has a chance to get above 500 with a win Sunday. He's currently 21-21. That's impressive. And considering some of the I guess the first year start here and everything, that's impressive that he's reached that, which means MCDC's got to be there too, right? All right, Bit Lady, Lions #1 fan. Yep, the feed was fumble for a loss. All right, Southwest. I saw AG's press conference yesterday. Laughable. If only his defense could defend as well as he tried to defend / justify what the defense, why the defense isn't better. Yeah, I mean, you see his body language throughout the season. And I get he's got a lot of dudes out for the defense. The defense wouldn't have been great even if everybody played. Would they've been top 5? Probably not. Could they have been, I don't know, number 8 through 14? That's possible. They've been besieged by injuries, but to my point, I don't focus on that, at least when I'm judging someone or grading a coach. I want to see the nuances, how fast they make adjustments, catch people off guard with stuff, things of that sort, because to me, that's coaching. Nobody can control the players on the field, but you can control the situations you put them in. So I do get your point there, Southwest Line. He's feeling the heat. I don't have any question about that. All right, Clark, what do you got? Bit Lady, I'm with you. Copy what the Vikings did. Yeah, that's a copycat league, right? Like you're seeing more and more teams since the Bears do what the Bears did basically against the Lions. And I got to imagine, why wouldn't you do the same if you're Aaron Glenn? All right, Bit Lady, creativity is foreign concept to AG. At this point, I would have to agree begrudgingly. I want him to do well. I want every coach to do well, but he's not quick to make changes, and whether that's just being stubborn or just not believing in other people's stuff, that I can't answer. All right, Mike, what do you got? AG knows his seat is red hot. I would agree. Yes, somebody has sprinkled hot sauce all over it, and he's sitting on it and probably definitely aware of it. All right, Magic 8 Balls says hit the like button. Thanks for that, JDC. If you guys would, yeah, go ahead and hit that like button. Pat Rock, just because you asked nicely. All right, well, I appreciate it. Hopefully you ask nicely more then. All right, Hooker Time. We blame Karen Glad for defense. However, Mr. Bite Their Kneecaps has to approve it. That is true. So ultimately, isn't Dan, or am I missing something? Boy, that's a good question. It comes down to each regime. So MCDC, he does have to write off on certain aspects, but as far as at least most head coaches, I can't speak for every head coach, but most head coaches are going to let their OC or DC or even special teams coordinator do what they want. The only time that might different is say like fourth down. Are you going to just let the offensive coordinator make the call whether we're going to go for it on fourth down? Probably not. Just situations like that, that's going to go to MCDC or your head coach. As far as the schemes you run, usually I would say 90% of the time, it's totally up to the coordinators. I mean, I'm sure they all do review it with the head coach, but ultimately the head coach hired that person for a reason. They're going to go with them. Now, in the situation with Aaron Glenn, I wouldn't be surprised at this point in the season if Campbell has probably made some suggestions. But obviously, he's not probably overriding the defensive coordinator because that would lead to mayhem, in my opinion. All right, Mr. Ed, what do we got here? Morning, Coach. Thank you. Mile marker 301. I agree. Let's limit our text. Let's share the chat room. I like hearing from as many fans as well. Yeah. Just everybody go ahead and throw your thoughts out there. I get sometimes I fall behind with stuff, but I try to catch up as best I can. I was happy yesterday. I got back to within 10 minutes of catching everybody up by the end of the show. All right, Doug, what do you got? Dang, Coach is close to closing in on 5,000 subs. Let's help him all out. All needs less than 300 now. He's growing fast. That's credit to everybody here. Me, you guys, everybody. This is very much just everybody get up in the morning, have a moment of time with each other, and hopefully have a good conversation without yelling and screaming at everybody. I don't like that jazz so much. All right, but thank you for that. Bit Lady, Southwest Lion. I know, but he can copy. No need creativity to copy. At least hoping for some of that first. Yeah, in a copycat league, I mean, I get to a certain degree, all professional sports. If something's successful here, somebody else tries to replicate it there. NFL, though, man, it is the mother lode of that because somebody does something against a team and it works. Just about everybody you'll see in the next upcoming weeks will be trying to emulate that. So I agree with you. Need to copy it a little bit. All right, Southwest, what do you got? They have burned Hutchinson out and misused him. It's obvious from how they used him last year. What worked best? Have him off the line of scrimmage, standing up with the ability to move around. Yeah, I agree. I know we talked about that a little bit yesterday, but it seems questionable to me why you took something that worked so well and now have gone such a 180 away from it. So only the coaching staff can answer that, and that would include, yes, Aaron Glenn. Glidden, what do you got? I'm going to be at the game, front row, end zone. Congrats, man. That sounds fun. My wife surprised me with tickets. That's really awesome for her. Good job. Should I hold up a sign? If so, what should it say? Man, I don't know. Gold Lions, maybe your favorite player, something like that. Whatever you want to put out, man, but just go have a good time and enjoy it because that was really awesome that she did that for you, man. Congrats. Voltron for us. Bride as dress warm. Okay. I'll try to maybe dress warm for the game, I'm guessing. Maybe voice the text, change that text a little bit there. Bit Lady, no, AJ is stubborn and prideful. That's a bad combo. I would agree. Yeah, you can't be stubborn as a coach. Glidden Campbell, Duke Crew. Yes. Gotta love the Duke Crew. So, I see what you're saying. Duke Crew on the sign. Yeah. Hey, I'll leave that up to you, man. But if you want to put a plug out there for Lions Talk Live, I'll take it. What do we got here? Southwest. All season, the Saints were struggling in the red zone, but they found a cure, the Lions defense. Yes, the Lions defense has cured many great things. Greetings, Garland. What do you got? Greetings and salutations, everyone. Duke Crew. Yes, hopefully you're having a do one. We need this game in a huge way. Get this and the Denver game. The North is ours. I would say so. Yeah, if you get those two games, I mean, I don't know all the tiebreaker situations, but if the Packers win out, they would finish with 11 wins. The Lions win the next two, they have 11. You do have the tie. We split obviously games head to head. Beyond that, I don't know the tiebreaker formulas. I'd be lying to you guys if I said I did. But you get 12 wins, ain't nobody catching you. All right, Southwest Lion. When you're in the red zone as a defense, you have less field to defend. This is true. Why the Lions haven't had more speed on the field is beyond me. That's only Aaron Glenn can, and probably MCDC can answer the personnel questions that we're having here. But you think they got to mix some things up here to try to get a different result. All right, AJ, greetings and salutations, everyone. Same to you. The offense needs to control the clock, Sonny. Keep Justin Fields off the field. I would agree. That would probably be a big help for the defense because obviously they're banged up. They're short, staffed, whatever you want to say. So, yeah, if you can make sure that they're exposed less and less out there, that would be a big plus. All right, answer 14. Greetings and salutations, Lions Talk crew. Let's go Lions. Good morning to you. Hopefully you're having a great one. Devin, what do you got? I made it. Mornings. Good morning to you, and I'm glad you made it, man. Phil, how you doing, man? Hit the like crew. All right, everybody like the crew. I think everybody likes the crew in here. We're a pretty good group. All right, answer 14. Leaning on the offense is going to have to do it. We are limping into the game, and Chicago is healthy off a bye. Yes, they are. So they've had a little extra time to game plan, come up with some things. I mean, obviously they had a pretty good game plan when we faced them at Ford Field. The only thing I would say is, we had 4 turnovers that game. Yes, 3 of them were gifts from Goff. I think there's a lot of reasons why Goff did not play well that weekend against the Packers. I'm not going to dive into that. Just everybody has a bad stretch. We'll put it that way. But I will say this. I think the Lions have a reason to come out and try to prove themselves, not overlook this team. And I do think to a certain degree, the coaching staff and the players have probably overlooked some teams. I would hope this close to the playoffs and the fact that you had to have a huge comeback against Chicago, that wouldn't be the case anymore. But we'll see what happens. I'm hoping we win by a wee bit. But, hey, you're going to have to do some things on defense to make that happen. All right, Southwest Chicago possessed the ball for 40 minutes last game. The Lions D needs to be aggressive and not allow that to happen on Sunday. I agree. We need to hold the ball for 40 minutes. Phil, did Coach call Bugs unreliable? I'd have to check on that, but I think the wording from Campbell, maybe you pay attention to it, maybe you don't. I don't know, but I would say that if Bugs isn't on the field Sunday, yeah, he ain't ever coming back ever. Southwest Lion, what do we got? If the fans can see the struggles of the defense, I have to believe the players and other defensive coaches and MCDC see it. They should. I agree. I've got to imagine they're all aware of it. Dr. Detroit, what do you got? Good morning. Good morning to you, my friend. Adams, is Donovan Peoples-Jones going to play? I would assume so. I know he played a fair amount of snaps last weekend, or at least a few snaps. He just, didn't produce anything. I know there was one pass to him in the red zone in the back end line that was targeted to him. It's just, I want to say it was St. Brown or whatever that thought it was for them and kind of tipped it out of the way. But it happens, man. Matthew, morning, bud. Morning to you. I love this chance to play Chicago back for that. Pay them back for the last game. They gave us hell. Goff needs to show his butt this week and make up for the poor game last time. Yeah. And again, I think, everybody has a game or two where you're not at your best. Obviously, that was one of his. So hopefully it's a good opportunity for the whole team to play better than they did the first time we faced them. MJ, what do you got? Good morning, Coach and Lions faithful. I smell a first or second seed. Oh, and a playoff victory coming. I like it. MJ, I like what you're thinking. And yeah, a lot of things as far as the playoff picture could change come this weekend. So while we're all going to be obviously watching the Lions, there's a lot of other games to pay attention to, to see what's going on. And I think I've told you guys before, I never did the NFL red zone thing until this year, maybe whatever it was, like week 3 or 4 of the season. And man, that thing, I like it. That's watching games on a lot of Mountain Dew, a lot of energy. So if you don't know what that is, look it up. I would highly encourage you guys to look at it. All right, Derek, what do you got? We can let Chicago have the ball 40 minutes this game and exhaust our defense. Yeah, we can't let that happen. I agree with you, man. That would be bad. And this defense is going to need help, not more workload. Bergs, good morning, Coach Dan and Duke crew. Let's go Lions. 100%, buddy. And I think, this would be a real fun game, hopefully, for the Lions. But You're going to have to do some things differently on D to try to contain Fields and confuse them. All right, Southwest, imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. But based on his 3 years as DC, Aaron Glenn is stubborn and unwilling to even try to copy what successful teams do. He has speed on the roster, not using it. Yes, I agree. And, hey, it's his job right now, and he's going to have to figure out a different system, or otherwise that defense is going to keep getting picked on. Michael, what do you got? Howdy, Dan, Lions faithful. Lions win, 27-16. I will take that, and hopefully you're having a great day there, buddy. All right, Dr. Troy, Bit Lady is pretty damn smart about football. Geez, yes, she can break it down. She does a real good job with stuff, so good. Kudos to her. You're getting some props and shout outs here. Leon Poe, hi, Dan. My first time in the chat. Love the show. Watch every day. Diana, hey, yeah, and I remember chatting with you, but congrats to the chat. I know you had some questions about it yesterday, and glad you're enjoying the show. All right, bit lady, a coach, maybe only she would know, right? Dr. Detroit from another country. Yeah, well, hey, maybe maybe she's just vacationing there and then works here during certain times of the year. You never know. You'd have to ask her. That I can't answer. So, Derek, what do you got? Ben Johnson also has to show our offense. Wait a minute. Ben Johnson has to slow our offense down to help our defense a breather. Chicago had the ball 40 minutes last time. Yeah, and to your point, Derek, I get what you're saying. Like if you have more ball control on offense, that your defense gets to rest more. What are they going to do on that? Boy, I don't know. But if you get your opportunities, I mean, you guys know my thoughts. I'm aggressive as a coach. You get the opportunities to throw it long and air it out, get some quick scores. I'm going to take it. But when I'm not doing that, to your point, I want to control the clock and the game a little bit. But Chicago's defense is pretty decent. All right, Southwest, I take Bit Lady as defensive coordinator in a New York minute. Hey, we're promoting you here, Bit Lady. You might need to send in your resume to MCDC. Leon, what do you got? Any new info on Sue? Nothing. Nothing legitimate. I get there's been a lot of stuff in the media the last few days about having him come back here and stuff like that. I just don't know if they have maybe if they move some money around with other contracts, they could do it. The other point is, does he want to come back? That would be the big thing. But at this point, especially if they're going to go to like a 3-4, which I know we've talked about on the channel, he would probably be fairly ideal for that at this point in his career. Detroit Sue ain't coming. Dr. D, I'd say the likelihood is minimal, but who knows, man? The $1 million man, Ted DiBiase, taught us all in the 80s and 90s. Everybody's got a price. Southwest Line, AG is in his third year. He has plenty of time to grow. He hasn't, and he's hurting the Lions. Yeah, he's got to come up with a few better schemes here, I would agree. All right, JP, Steelers lost to the Pats in Pittsburgh. ? Crazy outcome there. Hey, I guess he's got some tricks still up his sleeve, but I didn't watch the game. I wasn't really interested in it. But Belichick, he does know defense pretty well. Derek, you have to put pressure. You have to pressure Field up the gut. I would agree. No QB likes pressure in their face. Also, I would agree. The edge pressure is where he steps up and runs for 1,000 yards. That's also agree. Yeah, he hits those C gaps real well. And right between, typically, if I'm going off memory, between the guard and the tackle. So, if your tackles go out wide and over pursue, that opens up the C gap. And, you see Fields expose that a lot on teams. Now, I know Bit Lady was pointing out with the 5-person pressure. That's where I think, especially if you do what the Lions did earlier in the year, a ton against mobile quarterbacks, where you just kind of contain the cone. The problem is you do have to get there in a hurry on Fields, because if you start giving him, like we did Lamar Jackson, 5-6 seconds, man, a novice quarterback should be able to shred, unless they're Tim Boyle, a zone defense in the NFL. The zone gets too expanded, especially since now you only have 6 guys in the back end of the defense. So good point there. It'll be interesting to see what Aaron Glenn dials up. Bob Marker, Duke Crew at Glidden Campbell. Yes, go with that on the sign. Let's get that. Duke Crew. All right, we got some votes there. Chad, is Bit Lady really that lady in picture? That I don't know. You'd have to ask her. All right, Phil, players still soak in ice water for reduced swelling. Nowadays, there's still in athletics a lot of teams that do that, but it's also somewhat discouraged nowadays. I guess it's where you're at and things. Right after the game, sure. The day or so after, more and more teams, especially in overseas markets, discourage that because there is some evidence that actually slows down the healing process. So I get what you're trying to do, but it really comes down to, who's teaching the medicine, I guess, is what I'd say. In the States, do we mostly still use ice? Yes. Other parts of the world, less and less you're seeing it. And somewhat here too. Like I said, immediately after the injury, are they iced up? Sure. The next day or the future days of recovery, yeah, they discourage it just because in their opinion, it slows down the healing process. All right, Southwest Lions don't do anything to confuse the opposing team's offensive line. Put 7 on the line, and who comes up into rush? Yeah, that's one thing I've been talking about for a while on the channel is go with the old 85 Bears fronts, and other teams run it too. But basically, like with Brian Flores, I know that's probably your reference point. You make it a lot harder on the quarterback and the offensive lineman to predict who's coming and who's not. And you only need 1 or 2 people to make mistakes each snap to really get some instant pressure on the quarterback. All right, Dr. Detroit. I don't know, Chad. I just know the comments are spot on and knowledgeable. Yeah, big time. Yeah, Bit Lady clearly knows some stuff about coaching. So I would say, yeah, give some props. Yeah, big time. Yep. All right, Hooker Time. MCDC 21-24-1. Getting there then. I mean, it is real conceivable that by the end of the season, he could be 500 or above. All right, Southwest Lions. The Lions do a poor job of making opposing quarterbacks think or be uncomfortable. Schemes are predictable and vanilla. Yes, I agree with that. Bit Lady, at Phil, no, not a coach, but watch a lot of tape. I could not be a DC, but nice to critique. Maybe a quality control analyst or is the first entry. Yeah, you're not far off. Quality control, equipment control, you start working your way up. Scouting is where a lot of them also get into things. So, Bit Lady, or if you ever want to get into it, check with teams. And if you can start getting on and then build a reputation for yourself, you can advance. So it's food for thought. All right, and the talent. Yes, Dr. Troy, you got the talent. Yeah, Anthony, no turnovers and run the ball. Yeah, not turning the ball over would be a huge thing for him. Don't give extra possessions away. Phil, don't believe Ben is ready to be a head coach. At the start of the year, obviously it was a hot topic, and he still is, but he has, shown a couple times this year in different spots that he's still learning and evolving. But, to be fair, you could probably say that about any coach who hasn't been around a significant amount of time. Derek, just use a number when you want to ask a question that will let everyone in their questions answer, and people can still comment. Yeah, just fire away, guys. I'm pounding through them as best I can. One Funky, I'm not saying AG has been good, but I don't think he's been as bad as people say either. Teams don't get out to a 21-0 lead if the defense is trash, and Green Bay wouldn't have had only 100 yards. So to your point, let's use the Chicago and Green Bay game. The second half of both those games, the defense actually does a pretty good job against both offenses. They do shut some things down. So some changes schematically do happen, maybe some personnel packages that help impact the game. My only thing with Aaron Glenn is just some of that's got to happen in real time, much sooner than in halftime when you have a moment to sit, pause, rest, refresh your brain, and say, hey, they're doing this. What do we got to do to combat it? When you become more experienced as a coach, you can make those adjustments in your brain and on the field in live time. So there's less opportunity for whatever is hurting you in this case, from the other team's offense to keep hurting you. And that's where I think Aaron Glenn really needs to evolve. Like all coaches, if you can identify it and say, hey, they're doing this on the first drive. All right, second drive, we're going to make this switch. That's where you start seeing coaches really go up in value, in my opinion, because, again, the opportunity for whatever is affecting you to keep affecting you becomes a lot more limited. Where at halftime, if you're waiting, which, he is making some adjustments there, you've also burned through half the game where you allowed the other team to be successful doing it. Southwest Bit Lady, I'm guessing you're watching tape more than AG does. Could be. One Funky, yards in the second half if he didn't make adjustments. Yeah, I agree. I get your point on that big time. And yeah, I'm giving him some credit for that. Derek, AG doesn't make in-game adjustments. That's where I think you're right, Derek, that he at halftime he goes through and does some things, him and his subsidiary coaches. It's just my problem is he's got to grow to the point where he's able to do it in the game, first quarter, second quarter, and then obviously second half too, if somebody comes out and makes a counter to his counters. All right, Phil, Bit Lady, that's a nice picture. Yep, Bit Lady's got a nice picture there. Yeah, and kudos to you. All right, Derek, what do you got? Comment as much as you want, but put a number before your comment if you want Dan to answer it or discuss it. I'll try to work on that. We're gonna have to develop a system here. Justin, morning, everyone. Yo, Dan says black bug's blood 5 times fast, man. I don't know if I'll be able to do that, but I'll give it a try sometime, man. Try to get back to you on that. Phil, let's lead, not foul. Put your own spin on copying. Yep, you go ahead. Do whatever you need to do, man. Monkey see, monkey do. Yes, and often when I'm reading, that's what I do. So sorry about that, Dr. D. Phil, do crew. Absolutely. One funky. Oh my gosh, it's a female. I've never seen one before. Let's talk about her. It's a sports talk, not a dating app. Yeah, let's keep stuff to the Lions and stuff like that, or do crew. Southwest 344 and 335, please. We need more speed on the field, especially against the mobile quarterback the mobile quarterbacks left on the schedule. I agree. Sorry to clear my throat. All right, put a asterisk, and then everyone will just blasting away. Keep 70% of the people left out. Yeah, I'm trying to get everybody on here. Nathan, let's go Lions. I agreed. Let's make this a great weekend for us. Dr. Troy, LOL funky. It's not just that she is female; she knows ball really well. If it is a she, simps are funny. Yes, so I agree with that. Is Jennifer working on merch designs? Boy, I'll have to ask her. She was out of commission all day yesterday. She every once in a while gets migraines, and when she gets them, yeah, she's almost like in a comatose state. So she's recovering today, and yeah, I'll talk to her and try to get you guys an update. MJ, what do you got? What do people think about Sue return pipe dream or reality? I do like Alualoa for his pass rushing. If he can rock like a 19, 20, or 21 season, but 22 was rough. Hey, and that's kind of my point with earlier this year when we were talking before the trade deadline. The future isn't guaranteed, especially in any sport. But the NFL, that's next level. You look at how fastly players can rise and fall because of a couple tweaks to their body or injuries, or they just don't evolve more skill sets. That's why I was really hoping at the trade deadline we had pulled the trigger on something. I wanted Sweat. I made no bones about it, but I also get why Brad Holmes didn't want to give up a first rounder to get past or leapfrog the Chicago Bears second round pick. All right, Dr. Detroit pipe dream. Yeah, I don't think Sue's coming. All right, Phil, beautiful sky this morning. It is, man. As I look out the window, yeah, it's not too bad at all. All right, Dr. Detroit, yeah, great group, really diverse. Yeah, we've got a pretty good group here in the Duke crew. So let's keep it going, guys. All right, mile marker, good idea at Derek. Yes. Derek, I don't know how much Sue would want for the remainder of the season. We have like 2.5 million in cap. If we bring someone in with a high cash, we would have to restructure some contracts, I believe. Yeah, and I think it's my guess. I have no thoughts here other than my own personal opinion, no supporting evidence or knowledge or whatever. But my guess is part of the reason they haven't brought in other guys, either trade or whatever, is because of the amount of salary cap they have left. I do believe Brad Holmes is saying, hey, we're just going to bite the bullet this season and try to write the books from here forward. I don't think he's a big fan of carrying dead cap space. Dr. Detroit, don't want to come here. Yeah, that could be. One funky, Sue probably wants to go to a team that he just has to be a rotational piece, not a team that he would be the piece. I doubt he wants to come here. It could be, man. And he may have some bruised feelings about not being kept here before. So it happens, man. Sue, yeah, I knew what you meant, man. Mile marker at one funky Lions fan. Yes. Question marks. All right. What do we got? The reason for Hutch downfall and complete 180 is due to Aaron Glenn stinks. Michael, I think there's a lot of that. I think a lot of it is also just the coaching staff just doesn't really give this kid any time off the field. And I get earlier in the year, hey, he's full of energy. He's young enough where his body's recovering. But the NFL is no joke. Football is no joke, let alone at the NFL level. And to me, the more I watch him, he's lost a step. He looks tired and fatigued. All right, one funky mile. What's that? I'll let you guys debate. Chase, anyone saying Sue don't want to come here needs to chill and speak on what you know, which means not about whether or not he wants to come here. Philly paid him what, 2.53 million last year, I think. It could be. So could they still figure something out here for him to come back? Sure. I'm just saying I don't have any wisdom or knowledge about it. It's not something I've heard about from anybody. So it'd just be speculation on my part if I was to say he was or wasn't coming. Dating app, don't understand. Well, hey, I couldn't help you with those things. I haven't used them in forever. All right, hooker time. If Lions win and both Minnie and Green Bay lose, we are divisional champs. I did not know that. Thanks for that, hooker time. Lions would be 10-3, and Minnie and Green Bay would be 6-7 with only 4 games to go. I guess that's a good point. Yeah, thank you for pointing that out. I had not considered that. Dr. Detroit, Sue don't want to come here. It could be, man. Could be. Philly, we need a 3-4 defense, and I'm surprised at this point, especially with the mounting injuries. Who knows? I mean, maybe we'll see it out there Sunday, but I'm surprised we haven't toyed with some of that a little bit. All right, Daryl, what do you got? I believe if the Lions do screen passes and play action, that will keep the Bears defense off balance. I'm sure we'll probably get a mixture of both of those, just to your point. Keep them off balance, keep pressure off Goff. And I don't know for sure who all 5 starting offensive linemen are going to be for us. But Kobe Scoresdale, while I think he is improving, he's also getting slashed and gashed a little bit. And veterans are catching him every now and then with a move. I know the Saints did a couple times last week. And obviously against the Packers, that's why he got pulled right before halftime. They were abusing him. And you don't want to destroy the kid's confidence. You want him to keep growing because he is improving. But that will be a big factor, Darryl, is that with all this that you're mentioning, the screen pass and play action, that you're going to want to make sure that you're not overloading the offensive line. But to your point, the screen pass would take some of the pressure off of Scoresdale or whoever's starting. All right, Kevin, greetings from Cincinnati. Lions 24, Bears 17. AG finally schemes properly and keeps Fields at bay. I like the positive thinking you've got there, Kevin. Good job, and hopefully having a good one at Cincinnati. All right, Justin, what do you got? So if we got 2.5 million in cap space, I think of 2.5 million reasons he might. Plus, no matter what you think or say, he might be a nostalgic factor, or maybe he might want to finish where he started. I don't know. That's a good point, man. It could be. And again, I have no idea. So, all right, going on, Derek here. So Sue would make what, $1 million with incentives. So seems possible money wise. Yeah, it's definitely possible money wise. It's just whether or not he's A, wants to keep playing, and B, does he want to come here? So, and then I guess there's also a C. Do the Lions want to bring him in? So consider those 3 things. As 14, Bears dropped linebackers a little deeper in coverage against us last time, and that caused problems for Goff. They also took away the intermediate routes in the middle of the field. Yeah, you could see if you watch the game live or on the replay. So what the Bears did is they had 1, sometimes 2 backers. Yeah, basically playing a spy coverage, but they weren't spying because they were worried about Goff taking off and running, but they knew where his preferred routes are over the center of the field. So both guys were just reading his quarterback's eyes, playing zone coverage. Now, watch the corners. The corners do a deeper drop in zone up the sidelines because they have no fear of Goff throwing deep. But what that also did is they would have 1 high safety, 1 guy at the line. The 1 safety at the line was also reading Goff's eyes, and whatever side St. Brown went to, that guy cheated out to and basically played the flat route. So if any pass went, 5-8 yards out to St. Brown, especially towards the sidelines, they were jumping on it. And that caused a lot of problems for Goff because I think we all know he prefers to throw to St. Brown. The Bears clearly took that away, especially as they got closer to the end zone. That's where you got a lot of frustration out of the team because, this was an effective coverage against our offense. And while we're talking about Aaron Glenn a lot, let's also not absolve Ben Johnson for some of this. he's got to be able to figure out these schemes. And against the Saints played a ton of man-to-man. So what the Packers and Bears did to us, they didn't copy and paste it because they prefer their man-to-man coverage. And they've got a pretty good secondary with New Orleans. But we will want to pay attention to see what adjustments were made, if any, by not just Aaron Glenn, but also Ben Johnson this weekend. All right, one funky mile marker. That's for the people that get all, hey girl, are you a girl? Is that you? And so on. Gotcha. Guys, I see what you're saying. Southwest answer, yes. Dr. Detroit, he didn't want to be here. That's why he left. We aren't that team. San Fran or back to Philly for Sue. Could be. And man, could you imagine if they add Sue? I mean, I get he's not the player he once was, but adding him to San Francisco, I mean, that you wouldn't have to be the man. You'd just be another part of the team, but that would be an impressive feat for him. Impressive D too. Phil, good morning, Bergs. Yep, good morning to you both. Southwest, we're going to learn a lot about both our coordinators and their abilities to adjust after what happened in the first game against the Bears. I agree with that. Mile marker. Oh, I get it. Thanks for the explanation. Yep, happens. Alex, Southwest, Alex Anzalone all dueled it. They're hearing the chatter out there about the defense. They know they have something to prove. Yeah, I think they're going to want to. And they know that, hey, like somebody just pointed out, hey, we get this win and both Green Bay and Minnesota loses. We've pretty much got the division wrapped. One funky doc, you could add KC and Baltimore. Good point. Dr. Detroit, yeah, I'm guessing you are right, Funk. He really could. He want a ready-made deal. Yes. Phil, Bit Lady, actually AG looking for advice. Now that's a thought. Dr. Detroit, key the other offense off the field. Yeah, keep the other offense off the field. I agree. Southwest, neither AG or MCC called Bugs unreliable, at least not this week. They're grudgingly acknowledging that he has an opportunity. He does. I mean, and again, I think, man, if Bugs isn't on the field Sunday, then yeah, you'll never see him in Detroit Lions uniform again. Trubisky is horrible or terrible or horrible. Yeah, he is his time in the NFL. I mean, take that work where you can get it, right? Be a backup quarterback and make a few million a year, and more often than not, don't have to play too much. I'll take that job all day. One funky. I think part of the problem with the defense is the loss of Dom Capers. He's a 3-4 guy, while Fox is a 4-3 guy. You have an outstanding point there. Southwest Phil, nah, I don't think he has it himself to be that clever. Ooh, shots fired at AG. Dr. Detroit, Dom Capers is a GOAT. Yes, he's a very good defensive coordinator. Isn't John Fox more of a 4-3 guy? I wonder how much influence he is having on this. That's only something the coaching staff could answer. Phil, get rid of John Fox and bring back Capers. And, well, maybe it could be that Capers just doesn't want to come back. I mean, you start getting to a certain age, maybe you just don't want to coach as much anymore. Leon, what do you got? Leon Poe. I'm not a big Sue fan, but how many of us Lions fans loved it when he stomped on Aaron Rodgers? I'm sure there were a few Lions fans that embraced that moment. I had to think of how to word that. But, Derek, it feels like AG might be losing the locker room a little bit. I would agree. There are probably some guys that on D thinking, if I disagree with him, I am next. We are trying to win here. Be professional. Yeah, and, I don't know the verbiage that was said between Bugs and AG, when they got into debate and then Bugs got sidelined for a while. I just know it got heated. I know that they got in each other's faces, and I know Bugs expressed himself very eloquently. But the topics for that, I don't know. But I'm going to guess Bugs probably did have some thoughts about the defense. Answer 14, it's a long way from 0, 10, and 1 line that MC started with. Go Lions. Yeah, and it's funny you mentioned that answer 14 because like literally 2 days ago on my feed, there was, on Facebook, there was a memory that popped up, and Fox Sports put out this, thing that was ridiculous. All these people out in the street looking at this big billboard where some workers were switching the Lions record for 10-1 to when they got the first one, and everybody dropped the knees, started, yelling, screaming, having a celebration. But it was great. Southwest Lion, MCDC not protecting AG. That's how it happens, and that can't be good for them, for the team as a whole. Correct. Derek, Kirby Joseph blew up on the sidelines. Also, the ship is rocking on defense. I would say this with the Kirby Joseph thing that happens fairly often. I mean, maybe I don't know what all Kirby Joseph did, but I can tell you players, especially in a game that's as physical as football, emotions run high. Your adrenaline gets going. So stuff like that does happen a lot. And if you work the sideline for any amount of time, either as a coach or photographer or reporter, you see that stuff fairly often. It just whether or not anything comes out of it, it's a case by case situation. Derek, what do you got? AG should have those adjustments prepared before the game. It seems like he does it on the fly. Yeah, I think most coaches do it on the fly. I know I do. I've got my stuff. I've done my scouting on the upcoming teams. I know their tendencies, what their traits are, what their probabilities are, and so I've got my, just like any coach, you got your sheet out in front of you. Hey, what do you want to run in this situation? That's in which situation. What have you prepared the team for? What is your team responded well when in performing things? All these things need to be a factor, and you need to be able to do it in real time. That's where I think Aaron Glenn, for him to really evolve as a coach, he's got to be able to make those in-game adjustments far faster. Southwest Dan, are there stats for which teams give quarterbacks the longest time to throw? I'm sure there is, but without question. If there is, I would have to think the Lions give QB more time to throw than most, if not all. Yeah, I would agree. They're probably among the leaders in most comfortable pockets for quarterbacks to face. Same when are Flunks going to point the finger at John Scott Jr., the D-line coach, for the bad D-line play? He is their coach. He's probably in the offseason, he's going to be one of the guys, one of the people reviewed. So without question, he will go through the process just like Aaron Glenn. All right, Lorraine, what do you got? Southwest Lions, Flores play calls are definitely worth talking about. We still play them twice. He's leading the league in blitzes with 47.6% of his plays. New York is second at 41. We are 24.8. And you guys have heard me talk about it, forever on this channel. I'm a fan of aggression. Take away the vast majority of the offense's options. It makes things, especially for the secondary, a whole lot easier to digest. We're going to do this up front. Means you have to cover for less time, but I mean, I do get it. There is more risk to reward. You could give up a bigger play. You don't have guys that can cover man to man, so it's going to have to be zone. But also consider this, if you can get that pressure, those quarterbacks have limited options where they can throw. Unless the guy just has a super elite howitzer for an arm, most of them have to be quicker routes, timing routes, and if you do anything to disrupt them, there's just a higher chance for a turnover, let alone an incompletion. So I agree with you there. Phil, complete 180. I don't believe Hutch is that bad. No, I just think he's that tired and he's become stagnant. The other part is when you know that, I'm trying to think how to word this. When you know what your destiny is on the line, at some point, we're all human. It's hard to go, give 100% energy all the time. So that's where I think they've done a real disservice to Hutch, not just from a physical wearing him down, less energy standpoint, but also the emotional quotient of it, the emotional impact they're having on him. And that is a big thing with athletes. I mean, it is with all of us. But anyways, Lorraine, and he varies his looks. He does. And who blitzes? That's what makes opposing quarterbacks have to think a little bit longer, which can be a difference between a completion and a turnover. Correct, 100%. I think we're all on the same page here. All right, Chad, we got one funky Lions fan. Yeah, this is a sports channel. How about we don't tell people what they can and can't comment? Oh boy, here we go. You must be lefty. Oh, don't bring that into sports talk. Yeah, everybody, let's just keep this to sports stuff. Nothing else. Let's do that. That's what the Do Crew does. All right. 144. What do you got? Justin Irvin on the edge. Hutch inside. Maybe Pascal. That would be crazy. So let's see. Justin Irvin on the edges. Okay. Hutch on the inside. So like on the down line, or are you thinking the linebacker? So let's go with that and see. It would be crazy. I like the idea of Hutchinson out wide, Irvin and Houston when he returns out wide. maybe Anzalone, Campbell in the middle, and then you'd have to mix and match with your 3 guys up front. But to me, I just want those 3 up front to be space eaters. And I talked about this yesterday. I want them to crash the center and the guards. That's going to leave more opportunity for one-on-one blocking assignments for both Irvin and Hutchinson. I like that setup a lot. But you guys have your own. So you go with what you want. Answer 14. We have a new D-line coach this year who I feel has not progressed our players in technique or field management. D-line coach is culpable for the poor pass rush and lack of discipline. You could be onto something there. Yeah, you could be. Derek, we need to generate more pressure any way we can. I'm all in for more blitzing. Would like to see Branch sent on more blitz schemes. Yeah, him and Tracy Walker, I think, would be great options to get there, especially with somebody shorter, as long as you don't make it consistent. That offensive line, especially tackles, don't get to face them a whole lot. And if somebody can dip and slip around them, you're going to get quick pressure on the quarterback. So I agree with you there. And what do you got? Do we have the personnel to blitz that high, though? Vikings D is smaller, faster from our starters. I think we've got the personnel to pull off something like that, but you've got to get those guys on the field. Jalen Reeves-Maven, like I said, Tracy Walker, while he can't cover, in my opinion, incredibly well, I think he's even below average in coverage. He would be very good at getting to the quarterback or blitzing the run. Jalen Reeves-Maven, I think that dude's just a monster. I mean, I think he can cover and he can blitz. So I wouldn't mind seeing him out there more. Irvin, you probably can't do to him what you've done to Hutch in that he's 36. He's not, whatever Hutch is, 22, 23. You're going to have to pick your opportunities with him because you don't want to wear him down. But get him going to the quarterback, get Hutch going to the quarterback, get Hutch some more time on the sideline. It's not going to happen 1 week or 2 weeks where he starts getting more energy in those legs. But by the time the playoffs come, you could see a significant difference in him with a little less workload. So just a thought. All right, Southwest, what do we got? I think we have the personnel. I just don't think we've been using it. We have speed on the roster that's been getting little or no snaps. I would agree with that. Derek, where has Kaminsky been? Last year, he was the X factor, and this year's been quiet lately. I think a lot of it does come down to how the guys are being set up and what were the responsibilities were. A lot of the schemes, when you look earlier in the year, when we faced mobile quarterbacks, they weren't asking the D-line to get after the quarterback. They were asking him to push the pocket into the quarterback. Basically, the idea is that by having that phone or funnel formation, horseshoe formation around the quarterback, there's no gaps for them to easily run through. They have to go back out the pocket and around. The downside is you give quarterbacks, if you can't really push that line into them, you give them a lot of time. And against a zone team, I'm not a fan of it because it's not aggressive by any means. We're all dumping on AG and the schemes, but let's also take this into consideration. They're 10-3, and I don't think anybody here is saying we have a ton of elite personnel on D. I do agree we probably want to use some more of the speed more, but that also means you're going to have to change your schemes. And for whatever reason, AG, Dan Campbell, whoever, doesn't seem inclined at this time to do that. Maybe they're holding it back for the playoffs and going to surprise us all. Phil, Lions holding their cards close to the vest for the playoffs. Maybe, man, maybe. All right, let's see. Derek, what do we got? When James Houston comes back, I believe we have the upfront personnel to blitz more. Yes, Houston would be very ideal for that. I hope they don't put him back on special teams. Chad, what do you got? Phil, I would love for that to be the cause, but we have a lack of talent on D. We could, especially in the secondary, get a lot better. Lorraine, what do you got? You could be right. It's just unproven, and some offenses could pose a challenge for smaller Ds. Though the run game, perhaps, smaller Ds, if you had a real ground and pound team that could, especially a really good offensive line, you could give them fits. But I think to everybody's points here, maybe mix and match your D for who you're facing. So if you do have a team that just is going to be able to pound the ball, change some of the personnel up front then. if you have a team that wants to pass, more mobile quarterback and stuff like that, then maybe you do have to put a little bit more speed out there. It's not fun being a coordinator. It's not being fun when you don't have, better talent and you're a little bit beat up with your talent you do have. So a lot of things come into play. All right, Woody Ward, Lions don't want Sue. Could be. What do you got? Southwest Nowitzki, been a good person to have on the field, good size and speed. Correct. All right, Dr. Troy, yes, nobody fears the deep balls, so they play us tight, but people don't want to hear that. And it's the big mystery about this offense, because we definitely have the people that do it. It's just we don't do it, and I'm not sure why. You're making yourself more predictable as to what you're going to run on offense and what the defense doesn't have to focus on as much. So I don't know. I'm not a rocket scientist, but I did stay at a Holiday Inn last night. Phil, run the ball, Gibbs 20, 30 touches, pound with Monty. Yeah, I would think, if you could try to get both of them around 18 snaps a game, that would be huge. Rain, you agree? I agree that you agree. Dr. Trey, Woody, I would agree the organization has their fill of suit too. I just don't see it happening. I would love it. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I have no wisdom or knowledge one way or the other if he's going to return or even had a conversation with him. Derek, we are not getting any pressure with 4. I would agree. So we don't have many options. If not blitzing, AG better start disguising his defense better. I would agree. Lorraine, we've got big, strong linebackers against the run, but they lack some speed lighter linebackers have. My concern is our DBs. Yeah, our DBs do not have great speed by any stretch of imagination, which is, I'm going to guess, why we're also playing a lot of zone this year versus last year we played almost all man. Is what it is. I mean, if you go man-to-man, DJ Moore is probably going to the end zone a few times because we don't have anybody who can keep up with him. And I think that lies part of the problem. All right, a couple more here, and that's due time for me. Phil, is Ben trying to be too complicated? I think he's outthought himself a little bit this year, especially in the red zone. I think he gets too cute with some of the play calls. Derek, different front office when Sue was here, though. It is, but I think, just the fact that it's Detroit, just like, trying to get, what's his name? Coach Sue, when we first started, had the fight with Hardball after the 49ers game. But anyways, he's the DC of the Bears, or excuse me, not the Bears, the Browns. I think Jim Schwartz. He'd be great to bring back as a defensive coordinator, but is he going to come back to Detroit? Because that is where he was a head coach, even though everybody's changed, everything's different. Unfortunately, probably not. All right, Dr. Strait, I agree. I am just being practical. We like Sue way more than Sue liked us. That could be a level of truth to that. Bergs, morning, Phil. Morning to you both. Motown, Mitch, what do you got? Goff MVP. Let's hopefully he has an MVP performance this weekend. All right, guys, I'm going to cut it off here and get going. Try to keep up, and I guess we didn't do a horrible job. We're only about 13 minutes behind. But anyways, if you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so, trying to get to 4,800 by kickoff on Sunday. If you would, also hit that thumbs up button. If there's some breaking news later today, I'll try to hop on the mic as quick as possible. It should be a little bit later than definitely yesterday, but it is game day, so I got to do some stuff, go through some films, get some things ready for the game this evening. Hope you all have a great day. Make it a do one, and we'll see you all in the next Lions Talk Live. Take care, everybody.